It seems like buyers today expect proof of concepts more just because they've been burned in the past, faced higher CFO scrutiny. Like it's even more than just like Doc has a free account. You can just sign up and start using it. But then people even want just like the full featured and they want to run a real process around that. And so Todd, maybe we start with you. I'm curious, like, what does it take to run a good POC? Because I know you run these out of Doc with the data test. Like, how do you think about kind of structuring that so it's not this never-ending process? Like, yeah, what
For
goes into
sure.
a good POC?
I think the first thing is you have to remember we have our best rep at Champify. He'll go, yeah, of course someone says they want to do a data test. It's free and they have nothing to lose. Like that means absolutely nothing. So I think the first thing is like, okay, what happens before that and being as strict and black and white on are we going to do this? Is there EB involvement? Have we built out a V1 of that business case that knows they're a big enough impact? We know somewhat of the indirect competition, direct competition. So I think the first thing is like not going there too early is like the biggest mistake I tend to see. I think the second thing, Alex, to answer your question directly, is what exactly are they trying to test? Right. And that matters a lot. Like for us, a data test, if you're trying to validate some data quality, that's awesome. What type of numbers do you expect to see? Here's what we'd imagine. If it's in this range, is that good enough? Right. Like if it's going into a POC, I want to see if people adopt it. That's not what a POC is built for. If it's, hey, I want to see what the result is going to be for a specific campaign, that's also not what the POC is for, right? So I think, yes, I agree with you that more people want some type of proof. I think people need to think very critically about what exactly that is. And the more black and white you can make the requirements of did it work or not, the better.
And I think one thing we struggle with their own POCs, and then I'm going to pass it to you, Joey, is like, and I'm sure you deal with this too, Todd. It's like just by selling to salespeople, you sell a product to them, and they're like, "Did you make me more money? Are you going to win deals? Are you going to do all these things?" Like they just want that immediate gratification of, "Are you going to win a deal for me?" And it's like we could, but like you might have a 6 month sales process, and our POC is 2 weeks, or we're just a tool and you might be a bad rep. Like, like I don't, there's so many variables there. And so it's tricky and you to figure out, okay, what is the goal for a POC? And I think that's something we have really like, I don't know, struggled with and gone back and forth with in our own POC process of the right way to kind of anchor those goals and like what's fair. Cause ultimately, yeah, we want to help you win
Right.
more deals, but it's like, yeah, if you have a 6 month sales process, you can't do a 6 month POC with us, like that's too tricky.
I think it's going to what Joey said too around like level setting. Like a big part of that has to be like, hey, you told us you have a 6 to 9 month deal cycle. What are leading indicators that is going to give you enough indication that that is the right bet? But we have to be very realistic on what this is. I think the three of us have a challenge where you have to know what to do with the products and you have to be able to execute. And we've gotten a lot better at saying, this is not magic, right? If you have really good execution with our product, good things will happen as customers A, B, and C have done. You could turn this on tomorrow and have terrible adoption and execution, and this is a bad investment. You shouldn't do it, right? And I think that type of level setting has been helpful as well.
I would agree. I also think like people want to be told the ugly truth. Like no one wants to hear, yeah, you're going to close 200 more deals and it's going to be great and all the things. Like leading with confidence in the way that we've seen it work for customers is the most important piece, especially echoing back to what Todd had mentioned earlier about buyers being burned in the past. Like I can't tell you how often now we're talking about what our experience looks like when you come on board with us and giving them a detailed approach of how we're going to hold their hand, but also hold them accountable to being a good customer for us because they want to know what the future looks like. And that also goes to POC. I think like early in our process, and you would probably agree with this, Alex, at Doc, we were so excited to give people trials, but then there was no accountability to what a good trial looked like. And as we moved into Q1 and Q2, that really changed. I think there's a few things there. The first on our part, which is why we've been converting a few more, is you have to have executive alignment. Like, hey, if we're going to be spending a month with you and doing trainings for everybody in the room, we also set up a workspace that's a full extension of what your deal room will look like. And then from there too, it's like we also need engagement. Going back to the point about, hey, we don't know if you have good reps on your team. Like, I don't know the talent that you hired. So we also need at bats. So coming in with like almost a strict rule book that can obviously be flexible and you can work on together of this is what we've seen be successful in this setting, build on it. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Let's make sure that we agree on it. but we're also going to do a full kickoff call with you. We're going to make sure that you're fully into the space and you understand how it's going to work for your reps. We're going to do a training call to make sure everybody knows how to send and share. And then we will be doing a weekly check-in for the next 3 weeks. And on every single one of those calls, I'm going to be asking if you're ready to move forward and how that feels. And that transparency is really helpful. We're also talking to sales leaders. So having that just like no BS approach to it, I think has done really well for us. And if you can't get there, like maybe that's not the right fit for that and they should go to free world for a little bit. Whereas younger reps will probably want to hold on to that and say, no, they're going to close and all these things. And it's like, well, all of your buying signals are pretty soft. Maybe you have one person that loves it, but they can't get the attention of their team. And if you're going to spend a month doing this, we should make sure that we can knock it out of the park. And everybody in the room, for the most part, is on the same page of what success will look like moving forward.
And I think one of the great things about deal rooms in particular is when me and Joey were kind of figuring out this POC process, like Doc's own deal room, we use Doc a lot at Doc, became this forum where we could have a conversation about what is our process for a POC? What are the 3 or 4 steps we critically need people to do in the process, like set up Salesforce or whatever? Where's the documentation go? It becomes this place to both align on who's going to be involved, where are the goals, but also like the technical setup of like, what are the things you need to do to kind of set it out for success? And, that was a moment where I was like, oh, okay, we're actually building something really, really useful here because it really helped us, refine our own process. And it gets very meta at Doc doing this, but that was one thing. And we actually have it as like a hidden page in our deal room because, we try and avoid doing a POC transparently, right? Like we want you just to buy off a demo call or buy off our free account. But if you, sort of put us in a position and you're a big enough company, we will do it for you. And so it's a really easy way where we can kind of flex on, flex off our POC process depending on who we're talking to. And then even within the POC, we have subsets, right? We have some of our customers use us for HubSpot versus Salesforce or use Gong or something else. And so there's different setup steps depending on kind of what the customer needs. And we're able to really personalize the POC to them using our own software, which has been a fun tool.
The only thing I would add on to that too is like for anybody that's listening, one learning, and I would call it a hesitation. Like I came from a world where I was selling to HR. There was a very structured process. We couldn't let people touch our tool because it was HIPAA non-compliant. When I came into Doc, I was very much like POC world. I hate it. I don't want to do it. Let's push as hard as we can. And I think the unlock was if you have a tool that people can touch and they can use and they can feel and you're confident in it, the earlier that you can get them into it and prescriptively guide them through how to use it effectively, especially in a POC environment, it does kind of force them from just a fatigue perspective. They can't trial 3 to 4 tools effectively to move away from that. And then there's this period, even if you're in like a competitive differentiation type of situation, where they're just kind of like build their walls down or take them down and say, well, our team's already using this and we really like it, so let's move forward. And it takes a lot of refinement in that process and getting confident with it. But I would say that's probably one of our biggest unlocks and why we've done really well this quarter. So just to call that out.
I think leaders, Joey, to your point, you can't be religious with the I love POCs, I hate them. It really depends on the product. Like you guys are very unique in the sense that you could get on with, maybe you have one sales leader in a company that has 10 of them that wants to start doing this, and you meet in the morning and you have a perfectly spun up Doc workspace for a call in the afternoon. Like that's super powerful. But I think there's a lot of companies that don't have that immediate tangible feel of the benefit of the solution. And okay, you have to be realistic about that when you think about POCs.
Exactly.